So, the lighting is probably terrible because no matter the blinds, sunlight's coming through, the sun's at a weird angle to the window over here. Quite bad actually. I'm like half in shadows, but my house is also a mess, so I really can't film from any other angle right now. So we're gonna have to just deal with this. Gimli is with me, cuddled up next to me, so you might be privileged enough to see him in this live stream. We shall see. But basically, I am trying to finish my developmental edits today. I'm on chapter 23 of, I think it's going to be 27. It was originally going to be 20. It was 25, and then when I was thinking through my edits, I thought it was going to end up being 28. And then I cut a couple of scenes that I felt like slowed down the pacing in the third act. So I think it's going to be 27, all said and done, and I'm on 23, so I guess I've got 5 left because I've just started chapter 23. But chapter 23 is the only book, it's the only chapter left when I have to write entirely new scenes. Every chapter after this is going to be mostly old scenes with editing and like a couple of new scenes and lines to fit the plot and developmental changes I have made along the way. But this is the last chapter where I have to make substantial scene edits to get the plot from where it was to where it's going, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm being incredibly clear. But I don't think I'm going to obviously stream all of these chapter ratings because I'm probably going to be writing them for the next few hours, and nobody would want to watch that, but I thought I'm crunch time writing, so if anybody stumbles across this live stream or joins from my Instagram, I'll be here for at least an hour writing and working. And then I'm hoping to finish today, spend the rest of the month waiting for my line and copy edits to come back. Shout out to my good friend, if she ends up watching this, who's doing them. I do not think if this is something, I don't know if anybody cares, but I want to be traditionally published, and in general, I don't think that if you want to be traditionally published, you have to hire an editor to do line and copy edits to query or be traditionally published, because your publisher will do that for you, and I think that your writing should stand on its own 2 feet, because otherwise you're going to have to hire an editor for every book you write for it to feel ready. So I would never hire a developmental editor. I want to know that I'm strong enough at pacing, writing, character building on my own to get an agent and sell my book to a publishing house. And I wasn't going to do line and copy editing, pay for that, mostly because I can't afford it. But one of my really good friends just started a freelance editing company, and I really wanted to support her because she is just the most lovely human being, and I will link her freelance editing in the description box. Keep it on the live stream. I'll put it somewhere, post it somewhere, or something. I'll figure it out after the live stream. But anyway, she's got really great rates, and she's also my very good friend, so I wanted to support her. And I think she's an incredibly talented writer. I've read like chapters of her work in progress manuscript, and I think that she's incredibly talented and she knows what she's doing, and I love her, so I wanted to support her. So I am just going to be continuing to research agents and all of that and get like a whole spreadsheet set up and get myself like set up on Query Tracker by the end of the month, because August 1st I would love to start sending out queries. I might have to wait, obviously, depending on when Elsie, Lisa, I don't know which she wants to go by, when she finishes the line and copy edits, obviously. But the goal is to finish my part today so I can spend about a week and a half the rest of July doing more. Started on the agent stuff, but do more of it. Have like a list of more than 10 agents that I'd like, because 10 is not enough. Most of us cannot get accepted by an agent within the first like 9 that we query. That's the dream, but okay. I also want to look back at my query and do some final editing of it. It's been sitting for a hot minute. And then when August rolls around, I'm going to start planning and plotting book 2 of the series and a standalone. I want it to be adult, but it might end up being YA just because the first book is YA and that's how branding works. Just so that I'm working on something while I have queries out. And I would love for my second book to be a sequel and for me to be able to publish this whole series, but I know that's not always possible, and I might have to accept that, book 1 ends up being a standalone for a while, and then publish another standalone. So I'm going to work on both so I have something ready so that when I'm hopefully on deadline for the second novel, hopefully I get picked up by my publisher in the future, if I get one, if I get an agent for a second novel, all these what ifs. Hopefully, if I get to be on deadline, I will have something plotted out so that I'm not a scrambling mess. Because it's taken me over a year and a half to write this first book, and I'm fairly sure it's because I pantsed the whole thing. So we're going to try and not do that this next time. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to get back to writing. And you should write with me, because it's Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and if you're here watching this live stream, you could be writing as well. Okay, so chapter 23, November has just rolled on in with its biting cold weather. I didn't write any of those words because that sounds terrible. But that's what time of the year it is in this chapter. It also means it's almost Jinwoo's birthday, because for those of you who didn't know, which is no one, his birthday is the 4th of November and he's a Scorpio. And it shows. Nobody cares. Okay. Let's get writing. So I live really close to a bridge. The bridge over the bay between Tampa and St. Petersburg, Florida. And people, because cops technically are not supposed to pull you over on the bridge because it's kind of a safety hazard to pull a car over on the side of a bridge. You know, whatever. People like to race down the bridge. So, and I will not miss this when I move. You can constantly hear like cars revving engines, and it's really, you'd think that after living here for like 7 months, almost 8 months, I moved in December, I would have gotten used to it by now, but I haven't, and it still drives me mad. I don't know if you ever hear that. I don't know how good the sound quality is, but oh my god. Okay, here's something else I usually do that I should have done is, okay, my phone updated, so let's see if we still have the app or if something went wrong. That's what I thought. So I used to have an app called Forest, and I think that when they updated, it deleted the app because, that's life. And it would like, you set how long you want your phone to be inaccessible, and you like turn it off. So usually I'd put that on, but like I said, my phone literally updated yesterday, and like I can't find some app. It's just so weird. But we're gonna just try to ignore my phone. But in general, if you have a hard time focusing on writing because like your phone, like social media, or just internet on your computer, you can install Forest is the app that I use for my phone. I installed it in grad school because I had such a hard time writing papers. And sometimes I use it while I'm writing, especially when I'm writing for like a longer stint of time in which I'm more likely to get distracted. Which is also why I'm not going to live stream the whole thing, is because it's impossible to write 100% focused when you know you're on camera. No one's watching me right now, but they might watch this in the future. It'll be on my channel. So, with the knowledge that someone might watch this in the future, it's hard to be 100% focused on writing while you're live streaming, because you are a little bit conscientious about the fact that you're on camera. Anyway, you can download like internet blockers. I think I use Cold Turkey on my computer if I'm really desperate, but usually I just Forest my phone, because that's really the most usually where I go on social media, like Instagram or Twitter. I usually don't use them on my phone, and I don't usually use an internet blocker also because I listen to Spotify or YouTube when I'm not live streaming while I write. But I feel like it'd be really annoying to do that on live stream. So that's why there's no music right now. But my phone deleted the app Forest, so I'm gonna have to just try and be good. almost forgot I had this video going. Can you tell from my face that I'm having a hard time finding the right words for this chapter? Eh. Morning, Gimli. The sound you're hearing is probably Reed getting nice. Yeah, I want a gummy worm. You can talk. Just live streaming. Just live. This is what sustains me. Hi, Melanie. It's okay. I love you too. Thank you. I also like my new hair. I just bit my lip while eating that gummy worm. Of course. I never knew how much of the typing you can hear. Yeah, I guess nobody does call you Melanie because you go by Mel, but I don't know why I did that because I usually call you Mel as well, but oh well. That feel when you can't spell the word acquaintances or the word instrument, which is embarrassing to admit, but is a fun fact. Hi, Gimli. Okay, goodbye. The live stream would have loved to see you. Sorry for the bright light. Emily loves to look out from that cat terrace. Don't you? It's also one of the first days we've had like blue skies and like puffy white clouds in weeks. And I am inside writing. My choice, but still. I wish we had like furniture. We have like a balcony out here, so I wish we had like furniture so I could sit outside and write, but we don't. And we're moving soon, so what's the point? It just looks so nice, but I also know that if ever I go outside, I would sweat a lot because it's very hot out. I can't decide if it's worse here right now or if it's worse up north because of the heat waves. Probably more humid here, but I think it's temperature hotter. Temperature-wise, like on Fahrenheit, Celsius, whatever, up north. So what's worse, 100 degrees and like kind of bad humidity? Or 95 degrees and like 70% humidity? I think I'd rather it be super hot but dry. I say that, but I don't really know. Is Texas a dry heat or a desert in Texas? That's my assumption. I have broad spectrum opinion about Texas, but it's a very large state, so I'm sure there are some places that are not arid. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, it's like I think I'd rather be in the just super dry areas. Maybe. I have dry skin, so I don't know. But my skin is still like dry, and let me see if you can see this. You see like this lovely dry patch? I live in Florida with 70% humidity, and I still have dry patches of like flaky dry skin all over. So maybe I wouldn't want to live in a dry climate. Listen, I told myself I wanted to live somewhere warm all year round. And that's why I went to school in North Carolina. I was wrong. It's kind of like you don't appreciate summers as much when you don't have any other season. But yeah, I can't answer that for you. Mal, I cannot explain why you moved to Texas for yourself. But if you ever want to live somewhere else that's warm year round, I'll be in Florida for, I don't know, a couple more months. I have no idea. Don't move to Florida. Can you tell I don't want to write anymore? Wait, but when? For anybody else who's watching, not currently, but in the future, I'm responding to. Oh, hello. Hey, stop it. This is chocolate. I'm responding to my friend's comments in the chat. Anyway, because I'm going home for Okay, then we should hang out. Because I'm going home for Christmas. Are you gonna help me? Are you helping me write? Are you helping? Or are you inhibiting? We both know you're inhibiting, you little shithead. He's actually quite small. He looks big, but he's only 7 pounds. Despite being over 3 years old. So he's like as big as he's gonna get, but he's only 7 pounds. Peter's a big boy. Peter is my friend's cat, who she's talking to me to. You can read the chat. Nobody else is watching at this moment, but they might in the future. But yeah, Gimli, I don't know. He's some kind of breed. I got him to the shelter, I don't fucking know. But he's like small. But my sister, Holly, her cat, Freya, is like part Maine Coon. And she's like a fucking beast. And like as long as the vet doesn't tell you your cat's overweight or underweight, then it's fine. So like the vet never says Gimli's underweight. They said like, oh, it'd be better if he was 8 pounds. But he's got like a pretty small frame as far as cats go. He's not like, a Maine Coon. And he's not particularly fluffy either. But, which is a shame. I think fluffy cats are beautiful, like Freya. But my sister's cat is a very pretty, like, white Maine Coon. I think Gimli's cute. I need to go back to writing. I'm struggling with this chapter a lot, in case that wasn't, like, abundantly obvious. Hello, Sarah. It's a pleasure to have you here. Sarah, what you've missed, I'm struggling to write this chapter. If you want to write and struggle along with me, please do. My cat is here with us. I can show you. The light's terrible, but he's here. Okay, I'm going to try and write this chapter. I'm just writing. I usually don't like to personally sprint when I'm live streaming because I cannot focus long enough to sprint when I know I'm on camera. Some people can do that. Good for them. I also, if I'm sprinting, can't talk to the camera or react to comments. And I don't know, I'd rather host like a writing sprint on Instagram where I can be like, starts like, okay, starting my sprint, and then add another text story on Instagram and be like, okay, I'm done my sprint. How many words did you write? While when I'm on my live streams, I say that as if this is anything more than my second. I'd rather just write more casually. And I know I'm going to be writing all day to try and get this book done. So I'm not going to make it through the whole book if I try and sprint through the end of this chapter. Especially because like this is meant to be not my last draft, my last developmental draft. So I'm trying to focus on word choice. And I don't do that when I sprint. I don't know if I'm making any sense. So anyway, just to fill you all in on this chapter, my lovely chapter 23 out of, I think, 27, the reason I'm struggling so much, I am writing young adult fantasy. The reason I'm struggling so much is because I'm writing a lot of new scenes. Scenes I've already planned out. Hi, Gimli. And have written before, but had been cut before in place of other scenes that I thought I liked better, and then I realized those scenes were too long and kind of extraneous and blah blah blah. Don't hamster novels, basically. And so I'm rewriting them to make them work better, but I'm struggling with this scene because adding characters that weren't in it the first time I had tried to write this exact scene. I've written training scenes. I think this is the 4th or 5th training scene in the novel, and they're all distinctly different because they are at different times in Frida's training process. But there is still that fear of being repetitive in writing 5 training scenes. So I'm trying to shrink this one down to be as short as possible without it sounding like I'm just writing a summary of a training scene. And so I'm kind of struggling to write it, especially because we're leaning into a pretty big character moment that's important in Jinwoo's character arc and completely changes how Frida goes into the end of the novel. And so it feels like a lot of pressure. So I'm having a hard time writing it. I think I do well under pressure academically, but when it comes to writing creatively, no, I crumble under pressure. And people who do well under pressure, like, I have no idea how I'm gonna write if I ever get to the point, like, right under deadline, because people who thrive on writing deadlines are a different species. Writing a chapter that you're having a hard time with is also, like, one of those great times to have a critique partner, because you can tell yourself, yeah, it might be shit, but I can send it to my critique partner, and hopefully they can help me make it a little bit less shit, or tell me that it's not shit, and then make me feel better. Because I think at a point, and I think this is what's happening to me, you have read your own writing so many times that you stop being able to see if your writing is good or bad, because you've spent so long working on the same project. And that's another reason I really want this to be, like, basically my last draft, because it's not going to get any better from here. I'm perfectly aware of that from working with my critique partner. And so if I keep editing, I'm going to just drive myself mad. So I have a feeling this chapter is probably better than I think it is. I'm just being overly critical because I've been working on this book for over 1.5 years now. But yes. Yeah, it's super important to have other people read your work, be them people who read a lot or people who are also reading, because they can either tell you you're being too heavy-handed with something, point out when a plot twist is too obvious, or when things you're trying to hint at are not obvious enough and they're not picking up on them at all. They can also be a really great cheerleader for you to remind you that you're not as bad as a writer as you might get down on yourself. You can get down on yourself a lot for what your perceived talent level as a writer is, and having someone to tell you you're not you're not a terrible writer, and at the same time give you advice to improve is so vital. Be it your best friend, or in my case, someone I met on Twitter. It's a great, super important relationship to have. Sorry. So what are you guys planning on having for dinner tonight? If I finish editing today, which does not seem likely, I am going to treat myself to sushi. Do I think I'm going to eat sushi for myself anyway? Yes. You had a filling fall out? How did that even happen? I'm gonna keep writing while you tell me how a filling falls out. That sucks. Start. I can't believe it just popped out when you were flossing. That sucks. I don't know. I have some really old fillings. I also don't floss quite as much as I probably should. But yeah, I would also be worried about the rest of your tooth. I think that's a fair worry. Sucks that you can't eat though. I have no idea what time it is, where you are. But oh, okay. So you're in Central Time, I guess. I don't know if you're in the U.S., but you have plenty of time before you should be hungry for dinner, right? So at least that's good. That is sucks that it's a front tooth. Is it a canine or none of these front four? That sucks. That's crazy. I didn't realize soda was so terrible for your teeth. I don't drink soda, but it's kind of makes me want to drink it less if you can get a cavity just from swishing it between your teeth. I'm pretty prone to cavities already, so. Yeah, it is all sugar. That's why I don't drink it, but it makes, like, there's, the rare occasion where I'm like, oh, I'm, like, craving soda, but it makes me want to not drink it ever, so. Hello, Shannon. Welcome to the live stream where I suffer through writing this chapter. Write and suffer along with me. Good morning, Tamara. I'm not talking to you. Maybe I should make myself another cup of coffee. And by that I mean, maybe I can get my boyfriend Reed to make me another cup of coffee at 3:30 in the afternoon. Will you make me a cup of coffee? Thank you. So, welcome to the live chat, stream, whatever you want to call it. Again, I'm suffering through chatting. Yeah, my boyfriend's lovely for making this cup of coffee for me. Whatever you're working on, you can work on it with me while I try and write the 23rd chapter, or work on, or edit, or whatever you want to say. I guess edit, since it's the final draft of this book. You might see my cat if you're lucky. Okay. And I also might be a little bit quiet because I'm not sprinting, but I am trying to write. Yes, please. Same, Tamara. I'm hoping to finish the book today. But we're gonna edit until the day ends and hope that I reach the end of the book at the same time, so that I can start looking at more agents to query tomorrow while I wait on one copy edits to come back from my good friend. So I guess that begs the question, who is here because they want to who wants to traditionally publish, who wants to self-publish here, just between the three of you here. I personally want to traditionally publish for now because I think YA is a good genre to traditionally publish, and I'm writing YA. I'm writing a young adult fantasy, which I know can sell well when traditionally published, and I don't have the time or money to self-publish to the standard I would want to. So I'm going to pursue traditionally publishing, and I'm wondering what all of your eventual plans are. Is that Diet Coke for yourself? Did you drink your coffee this morning? Gotcha. What did you self-publish? What genre, age group, etc.? I think that mysteries and romance and romantic mysteries are a genre that do really well in self-publishing. And I've considered writing mysteries in the past, and I think that if I did, I would become a hybrid published and self-published mysteries, because I've seen that they do fairly well in self-publishing. Yeah. Same. Yeah. So I think I've always thought if I was going to write a mystery, it'd be best to self-publish them. But because that's not what I'm writing, young adult, from my research, tends to sell better when traditionally published. Just because teens, especially in high school, tend to go to the bookstore to find new books to read or ask their friends who go to the bookstore to find new books to read. Whereas adults are more aware, I feel like, from my personal experience, are more aware of the self-publishing world and are quicker to look for books in self-publishing than teens are. Of course, that's a generalization, but sales histories show that generally young adult sells better when it's traditionally published. And again, I just don't have the time or money to self-publish and like hire an editor or a cover designer or any of that to make it look like, I don't know, professional. And I guess it's just kind of like you grow up with the dream of being traditionally published by a publisher. And even if it's not always the best option, like you can't always kick that like deep gut calling. So, but yeah, I think one day I probably will, become a hybrid publish. Going that, I don't know how to say that. If I ever switch to writing, if I ever think of writing a romance or a mystery, I will self-publish it, is what I'm trying to say. This lighting is just getting worse and worse as the afternoon goes on. This on that window ledge. I'm gonna have to just hold this and type with one hand, I guess. That's fun. It's really hot. I wish Gimli would come on camera for everyone. He's very cute. But just put this on the couch and try and record disaster, I guess, right? That's gonna spill. I'm gonna be really bitter that I put it on the couch, but Speaking of moms, know about you, but my mother doesn't like, she's very supportive, but she doesn't like get the writing process. She's not like she's not necessarily the creative type in that sort of sense. She's more of like a visually creative person, I guess. My dad is like the more writerly reading kind of person in the family. But she's super supportive of me writing the book. And I told her like I was trying to get done this weekend, particularly today if I could. I think it's going to end up being tomorrow, but she keeps texting me and being like, did you make progress? How far are you? Like, how close are you? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't know how to tell her like that she's trying to be supportive, but it's just stressing me out. Yeah, my dad, like, he gets it because he loves writing. My mom does not. She doesn't get it. Okay. So we're wrapping up the lead-in to like this really big emotional character scene for like character development. And so I think when I finish this, I'm gonna just end the live stream so that I can like get a snack, take a break, and let my mind reset to finish out this chapter. So just a heads up. Yeah, I think my mom. The other thing is that my mom like is aware that I started writing while I was getting my master's degree, and currently work a full-time job. Like writing is not my full-time job. Sorry, that's going to be really annoying if I keep doing that. And so I think she chalks up it's a slow process to the fact that I'm doing other things. And so when I devote hours to working on my book and I don't finish or make what she would quantify as like a lot of progress, I think she just doesn't get it. And I don't know how to explain that like it can sometimes take all day to finish and polish up one chapter. Wow, I wish I was your husband, in the sense that I wish I was writing full time. You're probably a lovely person. I usually don't do live streams because I'm not good at talking on the fly and I like to edit what I say, but whatever. But it's really awesome that your husband is able to make a full like, a living on him. Yeah, you all seem lovely, but I just sometimes embarrass myself, and I can't help but get embarrassed. Ah! Does he really? My boyfriend is like our permanent GM. And we are actually about to start a new campaign. But yeah, I love Dungeons and Dragons. That's really awesome. What's his name? Oh, okay, great. Now, I'm assuming he's also not the person I'm finding on IMDb, but I did find, I'm assuming, his Patreon. You know, yeah, unless he's also like a part-time actor. And I feel like he's not. So, but I think I found his Patreon. And I think I found his Twitter. And his YouTube. Maybe? That's crazy. Okay, so it's all the same person. I was going to say, this doesn't seem like the most common name for there to be so many people. That's really cool. Great. I'm going to look up his books and probably buy them. As my boyfriend and I like to, we tend to buy a lot of Dungeons and Dragons books. Because that's our life. Gimme! Hi! Hello? And goodbye. Stop it! Stop it. Is okay. I dropped this. The coffee mug is like too big for my hand. I'm like trying to like make notes of all of this before I end this live stream and take a break. Because we are 3/4 of the way done this chapter. Which sounds impressive until you realize that I read like 700 word chapters. I prefer shorter chapters, especially for younger readers. I love this book. My best friend got it for me. It's actually got like a slight, I don't know if you'll be able to see this on camera. Like this slight crack in it right here. I don't think you can see that. But it doesn't leak. And it hasn't broken yet. And my best friend got it for me, so I'm going to continue using it until it does break and I just don't put it in the dishwasher. It's like more noticeable in person, obviously, but it holds up. It doesn't leak. So to me, the crack might as well not be there. I just don't put it in the dishwasher. I am getting to that point where I am no longer writing. We all have our little cracks. I like that. I'm getting to that point where I'm no longer writing. So I'm going to finish this coffee. Probably watch a YouTube video. Maybe read a chapter of another book. I'm currently reading the second book in the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. Unsure of what I think so far, but I might read a chapter of that and then get back to reading. Yeah. I hope I like this book because I liked the first one. So anyway, I have to finish reading that. Oh, my book is due back on the 2nd of August. I love V.E. Schwab. I really liked, I think it's called A Darker Shade of Magic, right? The first one in the series. Sometime last year, and I tend to be like a series hopper. And I mean, I want to read Vicious, Vengeful, whichever one's first in that series as well, soon. But I've heard like kind of iffy things about the end of the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I thought Vicious was first too. But I've heard like iffy things about the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy after the first book. So I'm hoping I like the rest of it. I've heard a lot of people say that like the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy is like her attempt at being a lot like Brandon Sanderson. I don't know. I didn't see it in the first book, but I've only read the first book, so I don't know. Sorry. I'm gonna go read that because I have to return it to the library by August 2nd. And I'm not even a fourth of the way through. Yeah, then we're gonna get back to reading. So have a good rest of your day. I'm hoping to not cough again on camera. That's really unpleasant. I'm gonna have my eyes water for the rest of this. Have a good rest of your day, everybody watching. And happy writing. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm crying because I have to cough. Okay, bye.